there's somebody watching you on the back. Where? Oh my god. Oh my god.
Alright, let's talk about Halle Berry's new horror movie. Hello and welcome back to part 144 of my series, watching every horror movie of 2024. Never Let Go came out in theaters September 20th. I actually got to watch this with Halle Berry in the room at Fantastic Fest. So this movie is about this mom who has these two kids, and there is this evil that lurks outside of their house, and so they aren't able to leave their home, but if they do, then they have to be tethered to the house by this rope, and they can never let go. One day, one of the kids starts to even consider that this evil may not be real. I had really high hopes for this one because I love Halle Berry in horror thriller movies. Also, I love Alexander Aja, incredible director. Crawl, The Hills Have Eyes, High Tension, love. But to be honest, I thought this movie was just okay. But there were things that I really did like about this movie. One being the setting. I loved the setting. It was like this cozy, creaky, eerie little vibe to it. It kind of felt like in the beginning of the Pirates of the Caribbean ride when you're passing like that old little creaky house with like the fireflies. It feels like that. It had some really good moments of tension. It deals with generational trauma really, really well. And it had some like genuinely creepy imagery at some points. Also, these two kid actors, some of the best child actors I've ever seen. I think where the movie falls short though is about halfway through the movie, you know where it's going. So then from that point, it feels like it kind of loses steam and it gets harder to connect with. And also halfway through the movie, that's when it starts to lose a lot of its horror elements. So I feel like if they would have added more in there, even though it was losing steam, you kind of still would have been engaged. But I did really like how they ended the movie. Overall, I gave Never Let Go a 6 out of 10. I'm not mad I watched it. I think I was just expecting something a little bit different from Alexander Aja. But if you've seen it, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. I'm very curious.
Do you believe in ghosts? He killed a 13-year-old girl and then said that her spirit haunted him for over 30 years until he confessed. Carrie Jopic was a normal 13-year-old girl. She was creative, talented, outgoing. She had lots of friends. But you know, she was 13, she was a teenage girl, so she was rebelling a little bit at this point, but it wasn't anything serious or anything abnormal. Despite her teenage rebelling phase, she was still very much like a young girl, like a little girl. She was very much a 7th grade girl. The day before Carrie disappeared, she went to the mall with one of her best friends. They bought matching outfits that they both planned to wear to school the following day, March 16th, 1982. But that school day was anything but normal. Only a couple hours into Carrie's school day, Carrie actually got suspended for 3 days. When she was in art class, a boy threw some paint at her and it ruined her brand new outfit. So Carrie got up and she hit the boy in the face and she got suspended for that. Carrie was seen crying after this, saying that she was dreading to go home because she was afraid of getting in trouble. The school called Carrie's mom to tell her that, her daughter had gotten in trouble, she had been suspended, asked if it was okay if Carrie walked back home from school, or if she would rather come pick her daughter up. And her mother said it was okay for Carrie to walk home because it was just around the corner from the school to Carrie's house. It was only like 2 blocks. But the 13-year-old Carrie never made it home. At first, her mother thought that maybe her daughter was just stalling, coming home because she was afraid of getting in trouble. But as the hours passed, she started to get really worried. Her mother called all of her friends to see if her daughter was over at any of their houses. She started to search the neighborhood. Eventually, she even went door to door asking if anyone had seen her daughter. But when there were no signs of her 13-year-old daughter, Carrie Jopic was reported missing. Like many missing children in the 80s, investigators thought that maybe Carrie had just run away. Maybe she had an older boyfriend no one knew about. Or maybe she was just afraid of getting in trouble and that's why she didn't come home and she would just be home later. Of course, they did investigate a little bit. They talked to Carrie's biological father, they talked to Carrie's stepfather, they talked to her friends, her teachers, but investigators only really had one suspect, and that was Carrie's best friend's older brother, a 17-year-old boy named John Mant. John Mant was older than Carrie. He was 17 years old. He was already in high school. He already had a criminal record. He had gone in trouble for some petty thefts. He was definitely seen as a troublemaker. Reportedly, he already made romantic passes at Carrie, and He only lived right across the street from her. And investigators heard rumors that the day that Carrie disappeared, John Mant actually skipped school with like a group of other older kids, and they threw like a daytime party at John Mant's house. And there were rumors that Carrie was actually at that party, and it was like the last place that she was ever seen alive at. But investigators didn't have any proof that Carrie was at this party. It was all just rumors. So they brought the 17-year-old John Mant in for questioning. He denied any involvement. He lawyered up pretty fast. And since they didn't have any evidence against him, they just let him go. And then very quickly after this, the disappearance of Carrie just went cold. It really went nowhere fast. They had no leads. The case definitely just went cold, and it was like that for nearly 2 years until remains were found by a contractor that was hired to do some work on the backyard of one of Carrie's neighbors. That contractor said that the area smelled terrible, and they only had to dig about 5 inches down before they came across the remains of 13-year-old Carrie Jopic. And those remains were found buried in the backyard of Carrie's best friend and Carrie's best friend's older brother, 17-year-old John Mant, who obviously was the investigator's prime suspect. So you found the body in the backyard of your prime suspect. Case closed, right? Well, no, because John Mant still denied any involvement, and he actually seemed genuinely shocked that Carrie's remains were found in the backyard. And without any evidence, they let him go again. They were able to determine that Carrie Jopic had passed away from her neck being broken, but they couldn't determine anything else since her body had been buried for almost 2 years at that point. And only a couple days after her body was found, the investigators received a tip from one of her neighbors who witnessed something really odd the day after her body was discovered. This neighbor actually saw another teenage boy in the middle of the night, 16-year-old Jose Ferrara, crying at Carrie's burial site. He was crying, praying, and screaming, "I'm so sorry." Does it get any more suspicious than that? 16-year-old Jose Ferrara was also seen as a troublemaker. He was an outcast. He was a big partier. He was also allegedly dabbling into the occult at this point, and he only lived 2 houses down from the backyard that Carrie's body was buried at. When he was brought into questioning, he also denied any involvement. He said that him and Carrie were just friends, so he was obviously upset about her passing, and it made him extremely depressed. After the tragic discovery of Carrie's remains, Jose Ferrara befriended her entire family. He got very close to them, but especially her mother. He went over for dinner. He was there for family game nights. Jose cried with Carrie's mother. He mourned with her. He grieved with her. And they did that for over 30 years. They became lifelong friends. They had a lifelong bond after Carrie's passing. And as for Carrie and her murder, this is really going to upset you, but her murder went unsolved and cold for over 30 years. Until 33 years after Carrie Jopic was killed, on October 11th, 2015, around 7 a.m., a call came into the local news station, and on the other end was a man who coldly and calmly said, "I'm ready to confess to a murder." And on the other line of that call was now the 50-year-old Jose Ferrara. He not only confessed to the news station, but he also called a crisis hotline and his estranged wife to confess to all of them that he had been the one to kill Carrie Jopic, and all of them contacted the police to report Jose's confession. When Jose was brought in by police, he was very polite, very cooperative. He made a full confession. He told them that the day that Carrie died, there was a party at Joe Mant's house, and he was there along with a bunch of older people, drinking and using substances. And, Carrie had just gotten suspended. She was walking home, but she was nervous about being in trouble. She was trying to stall going home, and as she was walking home, she heard the music and all the noise coming from Joe Mant's house, so she just walked into the party. Her and Jose got to chatting. He offered her, she wanted to garden with him, and then after a little bit, he asked her if she wanted to go down to the basement with him and hook up. According to the 17-year-old Jose, the 13-year-old Carrie agreed to go to the basement to hook up with them, but as they started walking towards the staircase, she decided that maybe they shouldn't, and she actually said to him that she didn't think it was going to be a good idea. While the two of them are standing at the top of the staircase, Jose, who I guess didn't want to take the rejection or no for an answer, started to get really aggressive with the 13-year-old girl. He started screaming at her that they were going downstairs. He tried to push her to go down the stairs, and she actually fell down the stairs from Jose pushing her. And on her way down the stairs, Carrie Jopic broke her neck, which killed her instantly. Jose claims that he did not know that Carrie died right away. He thought that she just hit her head and it, knocked her unconscious. So in his own words, he decided to seize the opportunity and have his way with her. It wasn't until after he was finished that he realized that Carrie was not breathing. He says he panicked. So as the party is going on upstairs, he dragged Carrie Jopic's body into the backyard where he digged a shallow grave and buried her. And ever since that night, Jose claimed that the spirit of Carrie Jopic haunted him every single day for 30 years until he couldn't take it anymore and he had to confess. But even though he claims that her spirit was haunting him until he confessed, he then tried to plead not guilty during his trial, saying that the entire thing was an accident. And since the investigation was handled so poorly and so much time had passed, and since there was no physical evidence, they were not confident that they were going to be able to make a conviction stick. They actually offered him a plea deal. And the plea deal was 7 years in prison if Jose pled guilty to second-degree SA. It means he was never even officially charged in the death of Carrie, but he did agree to this. And he was released only 5 years later in 2022, which is just absolutely disgusting. That just horrifies me. He's out right now. He only had to serve 5 years and Carrie Jopic got a death sentence. From what I can see, Jose Ferrara is still living in Milwaukee and he has registered as an SA offender. My heart really goes out to Carrie Jopic's family and her friends. I'm happy that they have some kind of closure. Carrie got, some kind of justice. But, my thoughts really go with her mother, who blamed herself for 30 years for her daughter's death because she didn't go pick her daughter up. And she grieved and mourned with the man who took her daughter's life. Could you even begin to process that betrayal? I'm really interested to get your guys' thoughts on this case. I found it really interesting, and it's actually not the only case where a killer has believed that they're being haunted by the person that they killed. Definitely going to be scrolling through all of your guys' comments on this one. Do you think it's possible that Carrie's spirit was haunting Jose, driving him mad until he confessed? Or do you think that this was his way of dealing with his guilty conscience? Definitely let me know all your thoughts in the comments. While you're there, please let me know what case you want to see me cover next. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys tomorrow with another video.
In here. Look at all those balls. Let's play in them. You ready? Here I go. Swash, 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 swash. Wait, no, hang on, no, stop. Down here. Hi. Oh, where do you think you're going? Yeah, fine now.
was good.
That was amazing.
How do you guys feel?
All I did is I counted out my money. What's that appear to be?
5 $1
Show you
bills.
both sides so you don't get nothing confused. Looks like what?
5 $1
What
bills.
if I told you they were hundreds? You would say what?
No.
But if you quit looking at the back, look at the front. That's where they're all hiding. All 5 of them are now $100
What
bills.
the fuck?
You niggas not talking about shit. Watch how trained my cup is. My cup come to me. Hold on, come on, keep coming, baby. Yeah, keep coming. My shit come to me. Yeah. Oh shit, it's coming for real.
When my firework went up in the sky, this is what I seen.
Bir taraftan ay doğuyor. Diğer taraftan güneş batıyor. Aynı anda güneşin batışı ve ayın doğuşu.
I've seen some really creepy stuff, but nothing like this. There's a palm floating right in the middle of the air.
Scary videos caught on camera. It's viral now.
What is going on? What the heck? Oh my.
I'm outside of my apartment building and there's something watching me from my window. Hold up. I don't know what or who that is, but it keeps watching me, following me.
¿Quieres?
No.
The scariest horror movies to watch on Netflix, but make sure you do it at your own risk. Now before we get into that, if you love all things horror, all things spooky just as much as I do, be sure to hit that follow button. Your next takes place at a family reunion that is under attack by a gang of mysterious killers. These villains soon realize that one of their victims has a secret talent for fighting back. This movie is action-packed and it gives us one of the best final girls of all time. It's definitely worth the watch. A Quiet Place 2 takes place after the events of the first movie, and the remaining family members, they're not just trying to fight to survive against the aliens, but now the outside world as well, making this apocalypse even harder to survive in. This is a great sequel. It has more alien action, it has world building. I truly think this is one of the best horror movie franchises of all time. Till Death follows a woman played by Megan Fox who was handcuffed to her dead husband as part of a revenge plot. She quickly has to figure a way out to unshackle from her dead husband and to survive the 2 killers who are on the way to finish her off. This is truly one of the worst situations to be in, whether you're the husband or the wife, but this movie is action packed, it's super thrilling, and it's gonna have you on the edge of your your seat from start to finish. The Platform 2 just came out a few weeks ago in time for spooky season, and a new leader has imposed his brutal law to the platform system that we're familiar with from the first movie. And a new arrival in this prison system, she battles the distribution that goes on with the food. Sometimes you just need to fight against the system, fight against the man. Same thing here, this is the type of movie that you don't want to find yourself in. You're better off just waving the white flag. Outside follows a family who flee to an isolated farm in order to escape the zombie apocalypse. However, old secrets come to light that prove to be a greater threat. Who doesn't love them a good zombie horror movie? I know that I do. And this right here is one that you guys will love as well, take my word for it.
A woman named Lexi woke up from a nightmare, only to find out followed her into reality.
I don't know if you guys can know, I've never had a dream like this before. And then what happened after is just fucking, I'm about to fucking puke. So anyways, we were laughing, ha ha ha, everything's fine. I got good vibes, and all of a sudden, they all look at me, and they're just lifeless. Like, they're like, there's like at least like 30 people in the room, okay? And they all look at me, and they're like this. And I got the most sick feeling. And all of a sudden, for some reason, I was wearing this cross in my dream. I go like this, and I start to grip my cross. And I'm just like, and then the person that I was talking to, he goes, "Why are you doing that?" And he was just like, "Why are you scared?" And then this is where I knew it was demonic, because just basically saying that God doesn't exist. He was like, "What do you think he's gonna do for you? Like, you think God even exists? You think he's gonna," and just, and then it was gonna tell me at the end that God didn't exist. And I just fucking, I've never like been able to grip this cross in my dream, and I just backed up, and then I started praying to God, and then I felt myself being lifted up, like lifted, and everything just disappeared. It happened right after, and then I fucking woke up. So anyways, I was like, oh my God, like, I've never had such a spiritual dream like that. And I went in the kitchen because I was so fucking terrified, and I just said, I rebuke anything in the name of Jesus that is not meant to be in this house. I rebuke anything. Right after I said that, I heard 3 knocks on my front door, and I looked outside, and nobody was fucking there. It was late, okay? It was fucking late. And so after that, I was like, oh my fucking God. Like, whatever I casted out of my house was like, it got casted out. And like...
This man took the lives of over 500 people. During the late 1800s, there was a man named Horace Radish who worked in a lighthouse off the coast of Rhode Island. His job was to guide the ships through the rough terrain at night with his giant light. But, in the year 1875, a man washed up to shore one morning and went straight to the police, reporting that the cargo ship he worked on with 20 other men crashed and completely sunk into the sea. He then stated that before they crashed, the light from the lighthouse became extremely bright and blinded everyone aboard, which led to the sinking. Rescue efforts were later sent out to look for survivors, but during the search, they discovered there was more than just one ship at the bottom of the sea, and that it was over 50. After finding out which lighthouse was responsible, they went to go question Horace. But when they knocked on the door, he never answered, so they broke it down and entered. But once inside, they realized the staircase was removed, and there was no way up. This would lead to a week-long standoff with the police, and all Horace would do was wave at them from up above. Eventually, police got permission to knock down the lighthouse, even though he was inside. But after it was destroyed, they could not find the body of Horace, and they would never end up seeing him again. To this day, locals in the area claim to see his ghost atop of lighthouses waving at them. Clam chowder in a can.
Go away. Don't come any closer.
Oh my God! You ain't Johnny. You're a goddamn skinwalker.